Hello everybody and welcome to the midweek market update from Smack the Markets for the 9th of September. So this week started off with a very light news flow. There wasn't an awful lot on the fundamental schedule. Also we had the US on holiday as well, which didn't help liquidity. Since then on Tuesday we've had the US back to business and the volatility has hit the markets again, and we've had another strong sell-off on those US stock indices. In other news, the on vaccine development front, that's not looking quite so healthy at the moment. The Oxford University and AstraZeneca trials have been paused due to a slight setback there, and on top of that, Mr. Trump is catching up with Biden in the polls, so things are starting to look sort of quite interesting. So let's have a look at how the markets are setting up going into the second half of the week and some of the opportunities that we're looking at. So if we take a look at the Dow here, we can see that the market, if we open this up on the 4-hour time frame, we can see the market's had a very sort of strong sell-off, and there's a pattern of movement here. We seem to get a retracement here in low liquidity times, so when the US is on holiday or overnight, and then we get a strong sell-off when the cash session opens. The same performance, or the same sort of pattern that we're getting at the moment. The market's sort of uplifting at the moment through the Globex session, and it remains to be seen how the market sort of reacts once the cash market opens. Price has come back to some, well, more realistic sort of areas. I think the area of fair value for markets is a controversial area on a number of sort of levels. But if we take a look at this from a technical perspective, the structures that we had in price action was right the way down here to 27,400. Below 27,400 we were getting back into this zone around that 27 area. We can see the price action yesterday. We've retraced back up, and the market's sort of pulling back up and slicing through a lot of these sort of structure levels on the increase at the moment. I think we've got 27,800, which is a key area here for the market. If you take a look at 27,800, that's quite a strong structure point here in price action. It also coincides with a fair distance here of retracement in the context of the move. So if we look at that current move, you can see 27,800 ties up with the 50% retracement of that recent leg of move. And you'll also find that on the S&Ps and on the Nasdaq, they're also coming back into critical levels that coincide around the same sort of price point as we have here on the Dow. So I think we've got quite an interesting point there. Is the market going to find more weakness, or are we coming into an area where the market may well start to find support? Now, I've mentioned this 27,000 level a number of times, and if we take a look at this on the weekly chart, you can see that 27,000 is the first area of significant support on the weekly time frame for this market, and the market sort of came within a whisker of that area yesterday. So again, realistically, I mean, of course the market could come back down to test 27 again, but further weakness below 27 I think is quite significant here. If we get below there, then could be much more liquidation that comes through the markets. So from a trading perspective, we're looking to see how the markets sort of react. We could see a bit more sort of weakness today in the cash market hours, but we're certainly looking at that 27 area as very, very closely as potential support. If we come and take a look at gold, we mentioned gold on Monday. We'll gain the 1920 level here on gold was the significant price point. What's happened is the market's come down, it's tested 1920, it's bounced off here. We're still stuck within this range on the market, and again, if we just take a look at the context of this, it's going to be very difficult to trade contained within this sort of sideways range unless the market gets out above 1950 or below 1920, and that's really what we're sort of looking for here. Just a quick reminder of the analysis and the structure on the daily. You can see we're sort of sitting at those sort of critical sort of points here at the moment where the market is likely to break out one way or the other. Now on Monday also we discussed the Aussie dollar. We were looking here at the Aussie dollar to see if market would actually find support in here and continue its uptrend. That's now didn't happen. The market sort of rolled over and has now made new lower lows. So there are better markets out there and cleaner trends that we're looking at, and one of those that we're keeping an eye on here is the Swiss yen. So if we just take a look at what's happening here, and of course on many currency markets, finding structures that coincide with each other across multiple time frames is a challenge at the moment with the choppy price action. But taking a look at Swiss yen, you can see that on the monthly chart here the market's come up to a significant structure point, and we've seen some weakness coming in here. So even if this is not suggesting that this is going to change trend, but even if we're looking for a retracement here on this time frame, then there's going to be some significant moves over the next number of trading sessions to the short side. We can see that the weekly time frame is rolling over at the moment. We've got some rather interesting rejection candles here as the market has tested the 118 area a number of times and just rejected off there. And we come down to the daily time frame and we can see that now that the market has now made a lower low and the trend is now favoring the short side. On top of that, we're into this trading window to the short side down to around sort of 1450, so there's not a lot in the way down of structure, certainly down to that sort of 1450 area. If I just sort of zoom out, you can see 1450 through here has been tested a number of times. So again, if we come down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see the trend structure now looking nice to the short side on these mid to lower time frames. So we're looking at opportunities here to see if we can get a continuation down here towards that sort of 1450 area. So that's a few markets there that we're keeping an eye on going into the second half of the week. I certainly hope it helps and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.